So this month, the theme that I am nurturing for my intention is Join June. And when I thought about Join June, I was thinking about joining forces, joining efforts, the act of joining something powerful, in my life. It was the thing that came to me. And joining is about addition. It's, you can join a class, you can join a prayer group, you can join someone in marriage, right? It's about adding on to your life. But one of the things that got me thinking about Join June is how oftentimes we cannot join something if we haven't released something else, when the two things do not work together. It's not always the case. You don't always have to release something in order to join something new, but sometimes it's the case. Sometimes you cannot really truly connect and yoke to something that is going to elevate your life unless you release the thing that does not serve you. Because you are holding on to something that makes joining that other part of you impossible. Hey, listener, welcome to episode number 111 of Listen Up. So today's episode is quite meaningful and magical for me, and I hope it is the same for you. So settle in, because this one might strike up some emotions in you. Okay, so 3 days ago was June 11th, and it marked the 11th year passing of my father. And as I sat in reflection of the anniversary of his passing, I remembered a conversation that he and I had before he died, in which he looked at me and he said, "Mi amor, we have such a deep and meaningful connection. I am so curious to see if it will continue." This episode is the answer that I've been finding to his question ever since. So in order for me to really share the importance of what I'm about to share, you have to understand the backstory. My father was an agnostic, and he spent my whole life raising me to challenge everything, be a critical thinker, question things, don't take things as truth, be in the pursuit of truth. And the only way that you could be in the pursuit of truth is through science and evidence, and language matters. And he was so educated and articulate and full of conviction in his pursuit of seeking truth. And I loved everything about the way that he thought and the way that he lived. And I just loved his approach to life. He was a deep humanitarian, lived to support and help people, lived taking responsibility for his actions, never leaving life to chance, but rather being proactive in creating your own outcomes. I loved everything about the way that this man thought. So I adopted his thinking and his language, and I rejected everything else for 35 years. So when I tell you what the last 11 years have looked like for me, you must understand that I was a person who did not believe in science. And I am the last person that should be sharing this story. And yet, here I am. Now, the thing about my father's death was that I was losing this man that was so important to me. It was like I was losing my soulmate. And when he died, I was 35 years old. Now, 35 years old isn't super young. However, if I have an average life expectancy, the truth is that I am going to spend more years on this earth without him than with him. And that to me was an unbearable imagination. I wanted desperately for our relationship to continue and for him to show me that maybe there was something on the other side. I wanted that so badly. So I was certainly hopeful for it, but I really didn't believe that it was possible. So in the first few years of his passing, I did get a lot of signs, a lot of signs, like crazy, weird signs. But even though all these signs were coming to me, every single time that they came, I did my best to explain them away. Like I would look for a way to disprove these signs, to question them. Like I could not allow myself to enjoy them. And my husband, who's super skeptical, even he would tell me, like, some of these signs are too profound to ignore. I mean, things like me getting a call from one of my best friend's sisters who had a dream about my father, and in her dream she could see me sitting in front of a man having a conversation about my father and saying certain things, and as she describes her dream, she was describing an actual real life scenario that I had lived weeks before. I mean, to the T, and having no way of knowing that that conversation ever took place or what was said in that conversation, and her giving me a message about what my father's wanted to respond to me about that conversation. I mean, it, like, that kind of inexplicable, indisputable craziness. But even still, a part of me questioned, like, could it be true? Could it be true? What if I'm just making this up because I want so desperately to have this connection? Then I had a conversation with my dear friend, Dave Brigger. He was the first person who gave me permission to start shifting my mindset. In a conversation with him, and I've shared this many times, I was telling him my dilemma and explaining to him that these signs were coming to me, but the agnostic in me could not receive them without questioning them. And, you know, what wasn't I seeing, and what was I missing, and was I creating an illusion? Like, was I becoming a crazy person? So I'm having this conversation with Dave, and Dave says to me, Caroline, why can't you just enjoy the mystery? Your perception of truth is your truth. So enjoy the mystery. Who cares if it's true or not? It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anybody's life. It doesn't hurt anyone to be comforted by these signs. Enjoy it. Nobody has all the answers in this life. So let's enjoy all the mysteries and the magic that life throws at us. So that was the first person that helped me take a deep breath and say, okay, I'm going to enjoy this. Then in 2020, I found myself with my son being sent to South Korea. Now, that is a story for another day, but the short version is that my son booked a TV show in South Korea, which is a country where my father was the most famous of all time. And my son was booked completely independently of my father. They had no idea that there was that connection. And it was so close that the director, when we were sent to Korea and the director learned that this was the grandson of this man, he nearly had a heart attack. It was like seeing a celebrity. It was the craziest thing. But my son was hired independently of my father's fame in South Korea. So I land in this country with my son, and I meet a young woman whose name happens to be Caroline. Now, Caroline is 20 years my junior, but she and I are deeply connected from the moment we meet. And we keep running into each other. I mean, we we saw each other at the airport. We were put in the same bus. We immediately started finding coincidences amongst each other. When we sat in the bus on our first day after quarantine, we sat on the bus to go to my son's photo shoot. And I had to sit at the front of the bus because I get car sick. And then Caroline asked if she could sit next to me because she gets car sick. And the coincidences just kept coming over and over and over again until I found the ultimate coincidence, which is that her father, whom she was very, very, very close to, whom was also divorced from her mother, like my father was a motivational speaker, like my father. The difference was that he was a little bit more woo-woo than my father was. And when I said to her, like, I can't deal with all these coincidences, she says, well, it's just synchronicity. So what do you mean it's synchronicity? Yeah, my dad taught me that this is just synchronicity. Now, synchronicity is a phenomenon in which people interpret two separate and seemingly unrelated experiences as being meaningfully intertwined. And when she explained to me the concept of synchronicity, she said, my father always invites me to look for those signs, to look for synchronicities. And when I find them, then that's my way or our way of knowing that we are on the right path, that we are supposed to be here in this moment, that this moment is supposed to be special. When she shared that with me, she single-handedly changed my life. Because you see, up until then, I had spent about 5 years noticing all of these signs, questioning them, beating my head against the wall and trying to understand them. But what she did for me was she named the experience I was having. She gave me language that I could get behind. Like, other people have different languages for synchronicities, but some of them just don't resonate with me. But this one, synchronicity, that I could understand, that I could connect with. So when she gave me that language, it was everything to me. That was my opportunity to start nurturing that part of my life. Now I had permission to enjoy the mystery, notice it, and I had a name for it. And then I could intentionally receive it. That was everything for me. And let me tell you, once I joined that world, my life has been endlessly more blissful and meaningful. And my father has been a grand show off. I mean, he really outdoes himself. He has spent the last 11 years showing me that he is very, very close to me, that our relationship has, in fact, continued and transcended in the most incredible way, and that I never lost him to begin with. So I'll tell you a few little fun ones that I've been reminded of recently. I actually just had a friend of mine. I have friends of mine who have witnessed these synchronicities, and they remind me of them because I can sometimes forget. And I had forgotten about this one in particular. But the day that I turned 40, my husband threw me a party, and it was a murder mystery party. And everyone in the party was a character in this murder mystery theme. And it was kind of like playing Clue. You had to find out who was the murderer the whole time. So we all got name badges, and everybody had their own character. And I had no say in what my character was or anything like that. They just wrote the script for us, and they showed up with the script. That was actually the day that I launched my book, Looking Over the Edge, which also shares another synchronistic story that I'm not going to share on today's episode, but you'll have to read the book for that one. It's about thunder and my son. But anyway, so I was launching this Looking Over the Edge book. We have this murder mystery going on, and they give me my name tag, and I put it on, and I'm playing the game. So I don't even notice anything about the name tag until my friend looks at my name tag and says, "Oh my God, Garo, have you seen your name?" I'm like, what? The name was Marsha Mallow, like marshmallow. If you know anything about my father's work, he literally wrote the book, Don't Eat the Marshmallow. And my name that the murder mystery people chose was Marsha Mallow. Happy birthday, Caro, from Dad. I love you. Another fun story that I may have not shared here before was in 2023. We're remodeling our house and we were in an endless pursuit of a good couch. I loved the couch that I had, but it broke and they discontinued it. So I couldn't find the new one that matched it. So my husband is going out to all the different stores looking for couches because I hate that kind of thing. And he finally finds one that he thinks I might approve. So on a Sunday, he grabs the whole family. The five of us go to El Dorado Furniture so that he could show me this one couch. And when we get there, the first thing I tell him, I'm like, oh my God, this reminds me so much of my dad because I happen to know that El Dorado was one of my dad's biggest clients when he was alive. So I'm like, how fun, it's El Dorado. Thought about my dad. We walk in and we meet a salesperson. And even though my husband knew the couch that he was looking for, he figured it wouldn't hurt to see if there was any other options that he had missed, since I was there that day. So the salesperson introducing himself, and we name ourselves Orlando, Caro, and he's like, okay, let's go. And Orlando, look at this, Caro, look at that. And we're going about the whole floor, and we haven't seen the couch that Orlando likes, but we keep searching. We don't like anything else. We keep passing through couches, and finally we find the couch that Orlando loved. And he's like, this is it, Caro, this is the one. So we all lay down on the couch. My kids love it. I approve of it. I don't love it as much as the other one, but I approve of it. And we're sitting there and he says, the only thing is now, if they have it in the color that we need it to be, that our interior designer would approve of. So we asked the salesperson, like, hey, do they have it in this color? And he says, yes, actually, they have it over here. Come with me. So we walk over, we see it's like a little section of the couch. It's exactly what we've been looking for. And we sit down. We're like, yes. And my husband is like, do you think it's the one? Is it the one? We're finally going to make a decision. We've seen a million couches at this point. And then the guy, in his effort to sell the couch, says to us, oh, and you don't even have to worry about the color because we have an insurance for the couch. So let's say, for example, Joaquin, you spill a glass of wine on the couch. And I stop him and I go, what did you just call him? And he looks at my husband and immediately realizes that he has called my husband by a different name. My husband's name is Orlando. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I meant to call him Orlando. I don't know why the name Joaquin came out of my mouth, except the name Joaquin is my father's name. So this guy thinks he's made a huge mistake. My husband stands up, puts his arm around him and says, buddy, what you don't realize is that mistake just sold you a couch. Little things like that my father would do would definitely show him off and help me and give me a little wink that he was around. And then the last one that I'll share was on another one of my birthdays. My girlfriend Betsy created this whole fun afternoon with me and my girlfriends where they met me in Coconut Grove and they brought bicycles and we got to ride around Coconut Grove and meditate on the grass and have a beautiful lunch together. I mean, it was the best birthday ever. And when we got to the grass, they did a little picnic for me. It was a beautiful, sunny, beautiful, clear sky day. We sit down and we start doing the meditation. And I don't know if it was Betsy that was the one that was running the meditation, but I believe it was. This is with a few women together. They were all there to witness it. So she starts to meditate for my birthday and celebrate me and all this kind of stuff. And I think she mentions my father during the meditation, that he's with us. And all of a sudden, it thunders. And my father's sign for me was always thunder, and it thunders. And all the women in the group open their eyes and we start looking around and we're waiting for the rain. We're waiting for the cloud. It never appears. It never rains. There's not a cloud in the sky. The rest of the day is bright and sunny, and it never thunders again, except for that moment in that meditation where my dad winked at me to let me know that he was with me for my birthday. So this month, the theme that I am nurturing for my intention is Join June. And when I thought about Join June, I was thinking about joining forces, joining efforts, the act of joining something powerful, in my life. It was the thing that came to me. And joining is about addition. It's, you can join a class, you can join a prayer group, you can join someone in marriage, right? It's about adding on to your life. But one of the things that got me thinking about Join June is how oftentimes we cannot join something if we haven't released something else, when the two things do not work together. It's not always the case. You don't always have to release something in order to join something new, but sometimes it's the case. Sometimes you cannot really truly connect and yoke to something that is going to elevate your life unless you release the thing that does not serve you. Because you are holding on to something that makes joining that other part of you impossible. For me, that was skepticism. My need to prove that this was true. The thought that I should think a certain way because I inherited those thoughts from a man I loved so much that I had to keep his doubts as my own doubts. None of that was serving the life that I wanted. None of that served me being able to maintain a relationship with my father after his human self left. It wasn't mine to keep. And it extended even beyond my father. Some of my father's closest friends, whom are my mentors, who thought the way that he thought, I was stuck in fear of their judgment, of feeling like they were going to think differently of me if I allowed myself to become a magical thinker, to become a spiritual soul, to become a woman who embraced faith and mystery and enjoyed the mystery and in synchronicity. I could not connect to that world fully and own it as my own while still gripping onto the version of myself that my father raised me to be. Those two could not coexist. You cannot join what is yours until you release what is not. Let me be clear about something. I am not telling you that my truth is the truth. I'm not telling you that my truth has to be your truth. I'm not asking you to believe what I believe about the signs my father sends me or about any of it. What is true for me does not have to be true for you. What I'm asking you is way simpler than that. Look at what you are still holding that might be keeping you from the life you actually want, and then dare to release that one thing. Dare to release the shoulds, the have tos, the what would they think, the what if this isn't true, and let yourself to connect to whatever makes your life more meaningful and magical, and what makes your relationships transcend. Connect to the things that make your life feel like it is a life of design instead of a life of doom. I've come to realize that the universe or God is always winking at you. In my life of design, God is always winking at me. The universe is rigged in my favor. Life is always happening for me instead of to me. I'm always in training for something bigger. That is what I have embraced in the last 11 years. And it is what keeps my father so very close to me, to the point that I don't even have to be sad that he's gone. Because to me, it's like he never left. So if this episode resonates with you, I want you to do me one favor. I want you to send this to someone who needs the reminder that life is winking at them. That's all I ask of you today. So in closing, I'm going to share one last synchronicity with you. So my father asked if our connection would continue on his deathbed 11 years ago. This week was the 11th year anniversary of his passing, which happened on June 11th. And I decided that I would make this episode a tribute to him and to the magic he's been sharing with me all along. Except that I didn't realize until I sat down to write the episode that today's episode was episode 111. His little wink to let us know that he has been here all along. That's all I've got for you today. May this episode remind you to release what is not yours and join what is. And in the process, may you enjoy the mystery. See you next week. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for being here. It means the absolute world to me. Now, if this show helps you live with a little more intention and you love it, the best way to support it is by following wherever you listen and leaving a rating or a review. That is how new listeners can find us, and it helps more than you can imagine. So until next time, keep noticing the sparks of bliss in your life. Bye for now.